We're back, folks. Freedom Forum. On this, the 10th day of the 6th month, year of our Lord Jesus the Christ, 2015. Let us pray. May the passion of Christ strengthen us. Strengthen us under the pressure of temptation. Strengthen us when principle is at stake. Strengthen us to do your will, dear Lord. Strengthen us in moments of suffering, in times of loneliness, and in periods of depression. Strengthen us that we may never swerve from you, Heavenly Father, nor weaken through human respect, through a desire to be popular, or through hope of social distinction. Strengthen us to accept our cross and carry it generously to the end. On the battlefield of life, strengthen us that we may never prove a traitor in the ranks. Strengthen us that we may not be dazzled by the glitter and glow of the enemy camp. In Jesus the Christ's name we pray. Amen.
I'd like to send out prayers to the family in St. Landry Parish for the young lady that lost her life to a tree.
Oh yes, pray for them.
Pray for them, and also pray for our people up in Shreveport, Bossier, Cato parish
floods,
areas
yeah.
for all the flooding, because we're going to need those prayers maybe a little bit down the road when that water finds its way here.
Yep.
So we need to pray for those people.
It could be some serious flooding here because of that, because the water is so saturated that rain we had today was still standing in my yard when we left this evening. So our ground is pretty saturated. So we're going to need pray for us to get through that also. Mm-hmm. Before we get to the announcements, and we've got a video for you in case somebody can't hear us. If your volume is very low, call Cox.
Angle that a little bit. Put it at an angle.
Let's see. Let's see which way.
No, front to back.
Like this? How's that look?
That didn't change it.
Didn't change it? Yeah, it's not changing.
Glare, it's bright.
Yeah.
Bright background.
Call Cox, or if you're on LUS, we kind of narrowed it down to a Cox problem, is the sound problems. But
angle it forward.
Yeah, go ahead and
The top down a little bit.
yeah, angle it down a little bit when you put it up there, in case folks can't hear us.
Up higher.
That's up
higher.
higher.
A little higher.
Higher. That's good.
Right
They can read that. And best time would be to call them tomorrow during office hours.
The other thing is, if your video or the sound is, you can text me at 654-2805 and let us know.
Okay, quickly our announcements, and then we got an interesting video for you on the trade pack that they won't tell us.
First?
Yeah, we'll show that one, or whatever you got first. What you got first?
Well, no, it's either
Whichever
one
one.
is
Okay.
okay, but
Okay.
we need to do them separate
All right.
because it's two different subjects.
Yeah. Okay. Acadiana Patriots meeting is tomorrow night, Jimbo.
And people, y'all need to get out because this Bessie election coming up in October the 24th, is going to be big money is coming into the state from the charter schools to keep control of the Bessie board, and we don't want that. And all of us people can get out there and get something done. So tomorrow night, so you can make a decision and meet somebody that wants to do the right things. Our guest speaker will be Mike Kramer. He's a candidate for the Bessie Board District 7, and he's been the principal of St. Martinville High School for the last 15 years, and he has 32 years in education. So you need to come out and listen to Mike, get to know Mike. He's going to share what he's at. Rick Chargois is a candidate for Lafayette Parish Sheriff, is going to be there and give a brief talk. I'm going to give some updates on significant bills passed during the state legislative session, which ends tomorrow. This is an election year for Bessie Board members, governor, and all legislative seats. And the focus over the next few months is going to be on this election. This is one of the most important elections years in the state of Louisiana history.
Yeah,
And I don't
especially when it comes to education.
the education side of it, the governor race, oh well, and legislative seats. And we're going to have a turnover. We're losing some really good people that are term limited. Term limited.
But there's also some that are leaving because of the frustration at what's going on over there. Some good people are not going back.
Yeah, I got a call on one of them. I can't really say anything. They're going to announce it tomorrow. But I really feel it is due to the fact of they just had enough. They're good people. They tried to do good things, and their constituents in the legislative house just, well, we all know it. No, we don't. No, don't use that word all.
Yeah.
We know a lot. Some of us know what's going on. You need to be informed and get involved. God, I talked about this in New Orleans last night, about people getting involved. Don't just come to the meeting. Do something after you leave the meeting. Because if you don't start helping people and doing stuff, whether it's knocking on doors, handing out flyers, it doesn't matter. And the other thing is that we need divine intervention, and we need to put God back in everything and every part of our lives. But tomorrow night's meeting should be real interesting. Get to know Mike Kramer and find out. And Rick Chargois is going to give a short thing. There's more stuff coming from the Acadiana Patriots in August. We're going to have a forum for the sheriffs. There'll be more details on that later. That's just get out, get there. We even have food too.
Well, yeah. And the
it's Cajun country.
yeah, next Thursday, a week from tomorrow, will be the next Freedom Forum meeting at Elise's, and we're going to be talking about nuke war. I'm going to touch on some of that tonight, but there's some stuff that we need to refresh people's memories about with everything that's going on now in the world. Some kind of nuclear exchange is getting more and more likely.
Scary.
And let's see, Ray Green's Constitutional Study Group is the following Saturday. That will, he's got D. Stanley showing up for that, doesn't he?
Yeah.
That's next, a week from this Saturday.
I gotta cook.
Okay. All right. Tell them about the video. Which one you want to show first?
Let's do the trade pact thing.
Okay. There's a lot of hype about the this trade package, trade pact that's coming up, and there's a video that's got some of the reality of it.
Yeah, the video, there's only 5 things. There's 29 things in there in the pact, but only 5 of them have to do with trade. And some of the stuff, we'll listen to the video, but when I watched this video the first time, wow, the things that, believe me people, you better wake up and get involved. This thing is just not about trade. When they tell you that if a senator or a representative of Congress has to go into a room to read this thing, and if they take notes, they have to destroy the notes before they leave the room.
Something wrong with that, folks.
What did they say with the Hope and Change? More transparency?
And you won't know what's in it till you vote for it.
Oh, God. So anyways, let's show the one for
after you vote for it.
Assange. the WikiLeaks guy, WikiLeaks. This
About that.
Saturday.
Second and
He has
fourth
D.
Thursday.
Stanley.
D. Stanley's. Oh, okay. He had turned the microphone in there on. We get kind of feedback. Well, while we're waiting,
Oh, let's talk about that one. That's a quick.
250 Disney employees are losing their jobs to immigrants on temporary visas. But first, they're required to train their replacements to do the jobs that they're replacing, they're taking.
I can't say my response to that on TV.
The notion that, well, there's a lot of other stuff about Disney that warrants boycotting also, but this should be the last straw for some people.
When I commented on this on Facebook, this guy up in Shreveport told about Willis Knighton Hospital up there where the working conditions are poor and the pay is low and nurses are quitting by the handfuls. So this guy up there got the idea, we'll hire foreigners. And what they do is they hire them and they come in and they make them sign a 2-year contract to where they can't quit for 2 years. And this is going on all over the place. You look at Disney. Does it say who they hired?
No,
It just. I know who they hired. They hired 250 people that are here on work visas.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you people that have these jobs don't think it's going to affect you with the illegal immigration?
Yep.
Go right ahead.
Here's another piece.
Go to sleep.
Yep, well, here's another piece that related to that. 70,000, not 250, but those 250 may be coming out of these 70,000. 70,000 refugees entered the U.S. in 2014 under the Refugee Act of 1980. They were not vetted by the U.S. government. They did not vet them. They didn't find out anything about them because they were authorized to come in by the UN High Commissioner for Refugees.
Since when does the UN?
Well, again, if what some of the rumors are coming around about the near future of this country, the UN's going to be very involved in us coming up.
In this video that we want to show, we'll tell you a lot about that.
But y'all may have seen it because Amy Goodman's show runs on AOC regularly. Plus, it regularly runs on LPB. So you may have seen this already, but it doesn't hurt to see it again.
But this whole deal with Disney, that's just one thing.
Mm-hmm.
One thing that's highlighted. How many other places is this going on?
Well, it's going to take a while. I think a lot of places at $250 each to get 70,000 folks
Well,
working. Of course, not all of them are going to be working people. There's going to be children. There's going to be old folks. There's going to be disabled people in that 70,000, because we don't know where they came from.
Yeah, the other thing we were talking about, Ray Green, on Saturday, I wanna say this. If there's any restaurant owners that happen to be watching this, you really need to think about purchasing a few chairs with arms on them. Because I have been with Mr. Ray and have had to help him out of chairs that don't have arms on them. He's 81 years old. He got a site. I don't even know what the site is called. And I think it's a good thing. The problem, and Ray and I talked about this on the phone the other day, was the fact of trying to get something to force restaurants to do that. I'm not for that, okay? And I told Ray that. And the reason being is that the same reason that the smoking thing failed here is that you're telling businesses how to run their business. Now,
Yeah.
any business with any ethical decency, if hearing this, would do that. Now, Ray told me one of the businesses told him that they would go bankrupt getting those chairs.
They must be on a real tight budget. A few chairs? Oh, no.
Oh, my God. But the thing is that it's you know, if you're 22 years old, you don't even think about this stuff.
No.
But when you get up in our age brackets, some of
Whose
these
age?
things start to come to fruition.
Yeah.
But I admire Mr. Ray, 81 years old. This guy doesn't stop. And he goes about things. And he will sit down and talk things out with you. But I think it's something that anytime you go visit a restaurant or you go to a restaurant, just mention that to the people. Mention the fact of that. And the more people they hear from, the more they'll get the idea.
Yep. This is good. Let's see. Oh, this
Oh, yeah.
headline.
I missed it the first time.
Headline in USA Today earlier last week: Texas colleges may soon see, I'm going to give you a hint, Texas colleges may soon see concealed weapons. Let me give you a hint, another hint, just in case. How do you see them if they're concealed?
Exactly.
But what brought this on was the numbers of women on these campuses that are being assaulted. And in some cases, they would have had a concealed weapon on them and could have taken care of business. It's not to say all of them would have. And this notion that, well, we're going to have shootings on campus if this occurs. Well, the interesting thing is, in other places where this has been allowed, officially allowed, the incidents of shootings by people with concealed carry permits have been negligible to nothing, unless, of course, we're talking about the bad guys that were there shooting other people without regard for who they were, and they were taken down by a concealed carry holder that was on the campus. So this will do nothing but make the campuses safer to allow concealed carry people. Now, some of them, I'm sure, are already carrying on the campuses. After all, they're concealed. And some of the foes to the concealed carry
Yeah, but you can see them.
no, not a concealed carry, dummy. Some of the foes have actually had the nerve to say that, well, I don't want to be sitting in a classroom next to somebody that's carrying a gun in their purse. Excuse me, how do you know they're carrying the gun in their purse? You got X-ray vision.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting.
Yeah, they've actually said that kind of stuff. And no, it's not going to be a bazooka hanging out of half of halfway hanging out of the purse, you idiots.
Or a Clint Eastwood gun.
Yeah, right. Which, not a bad idea,
Oh,
but
no. Oh, not a bad
the
idea.
problem with the 44 Magnum is you need a long barrel on it to get the full effect. Otherwise, you don't have to hit them if you're close
Yeah, but
by.
I'll tell you
It'll
what,
flame them.
I'll tell you what, though. Some of the purses these women have,
You're big enough, yeah.
big enough.
Oh, well. Anyway, the Texas schools may see concealed carry on their campuses. It would be a good idea. The governor's already signed the bill that, oddly enough, Texas was less advanced than Louisiana on this score. You couldn't carry a handgun openly in Texas until just recently when the governor signed the bill.
And that's kind of funny because
Yeah.
of being the cowboy country.
Yeah,
And
right.
in all the years they rode around on the horse with their rifle.
The rifles were okay. You could carry a long gun, a
Really?
rifle or shotgun on your shoulder, yeah. And there were some guys that were doing that kind of in protest to not being able to carry a handgun. But again, folks, go back to what we've talked about before. An open carry under most circumstances in modern society is not really a good idea. You're broadcasting to the whole world, including bad guys,
Yeah.
that you're carrying. Plus, you're going to be the first one they shoot at. If they're going to start shooting at people and they notice you're carrying, then they're going to wait till they're behind you and they're going to take you out first. So, not to mention the legal, ethical, and moral underpinnings that you have for having that thing on you. You are responsible for that gun, and that means keeping it under your control. It's a whole lot easier to keep one under control if it's concealed. So,
My wife texted me.
go
Said,
fix that thing.
said the volume's good, but you can't hear me. I guess I got to speak louder.
The volume's good, but she can't hear you.
Yeah.
You know what that is? That's years of practice in tuning you out.
Maybe it's your mic, she said.
Is his mic good? Oh no, I had him.
Lower. You know what? I'm gonna turn y'all's down. I'm gonna turn up this one.
I had him turn.
Okay.
I gave him the signal for turning your mic down.
Is that what it was?
That's what it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe it's your mic.
I was getting jealous.
But she said the video's good.
Well, the video hasn't been the problem, except that one couple of
One
weeks
night
ago.
with the
Yeah, the Frozen. Yeah, a couple of weeks ago.
When it gets stuck, you just have to
that's
You got
good.
try again.
Okay, we're gonna try the video again.
Not that one.
That's the other one.
That's the other one.
Try to Amy. Good.
There
that
we
one,
go,
that
Amy.
one.
Let me move it. Okay, this one.
Here on Democracy Now!,
You see, this is what happens when you
Peace
get
Report.
these
I'm Amy
users.
Goodman. As we
Okay,
return to our
y'all.
exclusive interview with WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange, I spoke to him inside the Ecuadorian embassy in London on Monday. Julian Assange, let's stay with the United States for a moment, with the TPP, the Trans-Pacific Partnership, which certainly doesn't only involve the United States. But there's a huge debate within the United States about it right now. And I dare say some of that debate is as a result of what WikiLeaks revealed. For some people, this treaty that will determine 40% of the global economy, the only thing that we have seen about it comes from WikiLeaks. Explain what the TPP is and the information that you got, that you put out about this top secret agreement.
Well, the TPP is an international treaty that has 29 different chapters. We have released 4 of them, and we're trying to get the remainder. It's for the information that has been released through the chapters that we got hold of, and through some congressmen who have seen the contents of some of the others, but they are not allowed to write it down.
They can go into a room and look at it.
They can go into a room. It's not formally classified, but it's been treated as if it was classified in terms of how the information is being managed. They go into a room. If they try and take notes, the notes have to be handed over to the government for safekeeping. And of course, congressmen under those situations won't take notes. So it is very well guarded from the press and the majority of people, and even from congressmen. But 600 US companies are part of the process and have been given access to various parts of the TPP. Okay, so it's the largest ever international economic treaty that has ever been negotiated. Very considerably larger than NAFTA. It is mostly not about trade. Only 5 of the 29 chapters are about traditional trade. The others are about regulating the internet, what internet service providers have to collect information, they have to hand it over to companies under certain circumstances. It's about regulating labor, what labor conditions can be applied, regulating whether you can favor local industry, regulating the hospital healthcare system, privatization of hospitals. So essentially every aspect of a modern economy, even banking services, are in the TPP. And so that is erecting and embedding a new ultra-modern neoliberal structure in US law and in the laws of the other countries that are participating, and is putting in a treaty form. And by putting in a treaty form, that means with 14 countries involved, it means it's very, very hard to overturn. So if there's a desire, a democratic desire in the United States to go down a different path, for example, to introduce more public transport, then you can't easily change the TPP treaty because you have to go back and get agreement of the other nations involved. Now, looking at that example, what if the government or a state government decides it wants to build a hospital somewhere, and there's a private hospital has been erected nearby? Well, the TPP gives the constructor of the private hospital the right to sue the government over the loss in expected future profits. This is expected future profits. This is not an actual loss that has been sustained, where there's a desire to be compensated. This is a claim about the future. And we know from similar instruments where governments can be sued over free trade treaties, that is used to construct a chilling effect on environmental and health regulation law. For example, Togo, Australia, Uruguay, all being sued by tobacco companies, Philip Morris, the leading one, to prevent them from introducing health warnings on the cigarette packets.
That we have in the United States on our own cigarette packages.
Yes. And it's not even playing field. Let's say you say, okay, well, we're going to make it easier for companies to sue the government. Maybe that's right. Maybe the government is too powerful and companies should have a right to sue the government under various circumstances. But it's only multinationals that get this right. US companies operating purely in the US in relation to investments that happen in the US will not have this right. Whereas large companies that are multinationals that have registrations overseas can structure things such that they're taking an investment in the US, and that then gives them the right to sue the government over it. Now, it's not so easy to get up these cases and win them. However, the chilling effect, the concern that there might be such a case is severe. Each one of these cases, on average, governments spend more than $10 million for each case to defend it, even successfully. So if you have, a city council or a state considering legislation, and then there's a threat from one of these multinationals about expected future profits, they know that even if they have the law on their side, even if this TPP is on their side, they can expect to suffer.
I don't rule out anything because
We'll come back to it quickly enough. You stand right there. Don't let him out of your sight. Okay. I saw Mitch McConnell interviewed this week about this thing, and he assured the reporter that, oh no, this thing is not confidential. what is being kept confidential is the procedure. This is what McConnell said. You just heard what Assange said about it.
Yeah.
It's the procedure by which it is being put together. Well, no, it's already put together. There's no procedure there. It's done. It's a done deal. The congressmen can't go looking at this dadgum thing
Read this paragraph.
without all kind of garbage they got to jump through. What you got?
Well, part of it in here, that the agreement, this is a trade agreement, right?
Yeah, this is they're not treating this thing like a treaty,
No,
which is bizarre too. But
it's a trade agreement, but it's funny, I don't know how this applies to trade. The agreement also regulates the internet and requires internet companies to gather certain data which they will be required to share with certain private companies. Many of the provisions will not only be secret before the vote in the House, but will also be kept secret for 4 years after the bill is signed. That means we won't know what's in it even after it's passed.
they have surpassed Pelosi. A super Pelosi is involved in this sucker.
Gee whiz.
Dang.
And that, you know, I remember, so was it 6 years now ago, about more transparency in government.
Yeah, and guess what? Amy there that you saw is an uber leftist. Okay.
Yes.
The uber leftists in Congress are fighting this thing, but the Republicrats, almost to an idiot, almost to every one of those idiots on the Republican side, are in favor of this thing, but there's not enough of them to get it passed as a treaty in the Senate. And so Obama has been going to some of the senators on the sly to try and convince them to come over
No,
to
it's
the
House.
to the.
It already passed in the Senate.
It already passed the Senate as a treaty, the 2/3 majority.
Has to vote up or down.
To vote up or
It has
down.
2/3, but yeah, just that
To
they can
vote.
only vote up or down.
They
Well, this
sent
thing-
it to the House now.
To get the same.
And they can't get enough votes.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
Because and the reason is because of the Democrats.
yeah, the Democrats
There's
are
10
fighting.
or 12 Democrats that said,
Well, it's like, yeah, Obama's for it.
Obama's for it.
Republicans are for it.
Some of the bunch of Democrats are against it. The Republicans are for it mostly.
remember, some of these guys have to get reelected this year.
But this thing is secret for 4 years after. And you remember, you caught what he said there about a wholly U.S. owned, an American company that doesn't have any ties to anything overseas, cannot sue the government over the provisions of this thing. They basically are going to have to abide by it. Everybody's hands are going to be tied in this country. And of course, we don't know what some of this other stuff is going to be for 4 years.
He has
So-
$100,000 reward for more information on this trade pact.
Do Assange just put that in?
Yeah, it's
Oh, good.
100
For
here.
the language they haven't got yet. There's
Yeah.
some they haven't read yet.
Yeah.
I just read it in the thing I printed out. Yeah, America's biggest secret. WikiLeaks is raising $100,000 reward for TPP leaks.
Something wrong with that, folks. If you don't see anything wrong with that, turn the channel.
Yeah, you're
Forget
part of
about
the
it.
problem.
We don't want you watching this show.
Yeah, I
okay?
mean, if you do not understand what this trade agreement is about, this is about total takeover.
If that doesn't bother you, then turn the channel. Not if you don't understand it. It's if it doesn't bother you that this is what's fixing to happen.
This is going to do away with the Constitution. It's going to
Yeah.
do away with the Bill of Rights.
They implied that at the beginning of this clip we just saw.
Exactly.
That this will not have the same weight as normal legislation that would be subject to lawsuits in the regular U.S. courts. It's going to be, you're not going to have any recourse in this country. It's going to be strictly handled overseas.
This is all part. We keep preaching this, and I've been talking about this for at least 3 years. This is all part of one world government.
Yeah.
And if you don't think that's possible, change the channel.
Yep. We don't want.
Totally.
We're
Change,
done.
if you think we're crazy, and we're speaking. Oh yeah, I forget I got the mic. We're speaking out of our you know what, then change the channel, because I'm telling you, I see more and more things today that are leading up to this.
Yeah.
And if we don't change some things in a hurry, and we're talking less than a year, or
we got this year.
this year,
What's the month? We got 6 months.
6 months.
We got 6 months. We got the end of this month is going to be 6 months exactly. So that gives us 20 days for y'all to get ready for Christmas at the end
y'all
of this
stay
6
on your
months.
couch, be comfortable.
And
No promise after
when it
things
hits
change.
when things hit the fan this year, then we will make sure and let you know we told you so.
see it.
Christians have told me that that's what's needed because sooner the better. Jesus is coming back.
What we do is not going to make Jesus come back.
No.
What we don't do is not. It's like this TV series that's on USA. I started watching it, and again, then it dawned on me. It's Dig, where a super secret organization is trying to bring on the second coming, and they're doing all these things that are foretold in the Old Testament. They're killing people over this. Okay, they even cloned the red heifer. Well, wait a minute. It doesn't matter what these super secret groups do. Jehovah is not going to abide by what some bunch of religious fanatics do. It's in his own time when this stuff happens. These people that think that this is going to speed it up, it's only if Jehovah wants it to be. By not doing anything about it, what you are doing is the same thing as watching your neighbor across the street get mugged on the sidewalk and doing nothing about it because, oh well, I don't want to get involved. That's what you're telling Jehovah, is you don't want to get involved with the battle for the soul of this country. And believe me, folks, that's a metaphorical phrase, because countries really don't have a soul. That means countries get punished in their own time for their transgressions. They don't get punished in an afterlife. They get punished down here. Well, and this country as a whole is going to get punished far worse than it's being punished now. Well, this is just the beginning.
Here's one of the things that he brought out in this, and this should open your eyes. The WikiLeaks will be publishing the entire bill, and they have already released chapter on investment. It's very interesting, and he said this in there, but I'm going to read it to you. It is written in such a way as to give multinational companies a huge advantage on trade. Go ahead, caller.
Yeah, Mr. Tom, I have a couple of comments.
Go ahead.
It says, I'm reading a headline from Infowars.com. Chief Hillary advisor to attend Bilderberg meeting. And it says Bilderberg backs Hillary for 2016 presidency.
Yeah.
That's the first headline. The second one is CIA admits it creates terrorism. And the last one is 2 + 2 = 5. EPA says fracking water is safe to drink. There's a female here with a match, and she put it under the water, and the water is on fire.
Yeah.
Which is a lie.
Well, no. Now that he brought that, he reminded me of something I want to mention about that later. Let me make a note here to comment on fracking in a minute about that. Yeah, these things, all of this stuff is tied together, whether you know it or not, folks. Hillary, what is Hillary's opinion of TPP? I think she's in favor of it, isn't she now?
Yeah, she's in favor of it.
She used to be against it. She was against it before she was running for, because this thing's been around a while. They've been trying to get this Trans-Pacific thing off the ground for a while. And so, but not only her, but Jeb Bush's people attended the Bilderberg meeting too. So it looks like it's going to be Jeb Bush versus Hillary Clinton in the presidential race. And folks, don't kid yourself. No, if you believe that you are going to have a say in who's the next president, then again, turn the channel, because you're delusional. And
Exactly.
nothing that we say is going to convince you of reality.
She
okay?
already said she's gonna get the ballot boxes stuffed.
Well, that's what she's suing Ohio over.
Yeah.
Okay, Ohio has a much more liberal election rule than even New York, Hillary's home state. Well, her adopted state.
I'm glad you're correct.
Ohio has a 28-day early voting period. New York has none. But she's filed suit against Ohio because their election rules are discriminatory. And one of the things
Yeah, you have to have an ID.
well, that's one of the reasons that they consider it discriminatory. And it's actually a more liberal policy than New York State has, of all things. But
That's amazing.
all of this stuff is tied up, folks. It's all tied together, whether you know it or not. And if you want to do a little research, then have at it and prove us wrong on any one point or everything we say.
Hey, we're open.
Prove us wrong, and we'll give you the chance to call in and present your case. But you better not call in with an empty weapon, because first of all, once we realize you've got an empty weapon, it won't take long. It'll only take about 30 seconds, and then you're off the air, and you will not be allowed to call back. So if you're going to call, we will have a discussion about any of this stuff, but you better have some facts to back yourself up. The die is cast, people. If y'all don't do it, get out and do something, well, hey, we'll blow taps for the once great republic. It's no longer great, and it's no longer a republic, and it's not the country I grew up in, bottom line. All righty.
A lot of people are realizing that.
Yep. Thanks, caller.
Thanks for calling
All
in.
right, thanks.
And let me finish what I was reading.
Yeah, but
that goes right along with what that
Yeah.
guy just called in. It is written in such a way as to give multinational companies a huge advantage on trade. An example, if a public hospital is built close to a private one, the private hospital has the right to sue the country for expected losses. That's outrageous.
expected losses,
Expected
not actual
losses
losses.
now,
See,
not actual.
under our system of jurisprudence in this country, if you were to take a lawsuit to court, if you were to file a lawsuit against somebody, you have to prove that you have actually suffered a loss. You have suffered some loss, and it can't be expected loss. It can't be what you think you're going to lose over the next 10 years or what have you because of something that this outfit has done. You got to wait until you actually have lost something, and then it has to be due to fraud, collusion, something that is a real crime at that point. But
Go ahead. Hello?
Hey, Tom,
yeah,
I don't know what happened between when you showed that video and now, but your volume is a great deal louder than it was before you showed the video.
that's bizarre.
Well, that's a positive thing.
Wait a second. Did you do anything with?
What is he on?
Are you on Cox or LUS?
LUS.
Oh, that's the difference.
Huh.
Yeah.
That's weird.
Well, we changed.
And let me ask you,
Go ahead.
I sent you a video of, let's see what's his name. This rabbi gave a speech to Congress.
Yeah, I sent that out to y'all. That wasn't to Congress. I looked at that. That was
That's right. You didn't send this one out to me.
no. I sent that one out. that one's one we showed on the show several weeks ago, and then I sent it out to everybody. That's Rabbi Khan that wrote the book, The Harbinger.
Yeah.
And the Shemitah, the year of the Shemitah.
Right.
And you're right. That's why we showed it. That thing. Anybody who saw that, that's why I told in my email, read this or look at this or else. I don't want to hear any more from you. I want you to email me and I'll take you off of my email list if you don't watch this.
Well, let me tell you, I don't get the emails anymore, and this was sent to me by one of our classmates from, whenever we graduated, a long time ago. But I never saw it on your show, so maybe you want to consider showing that again. It's 9 minutes, so it's not bad.
Yeah, oh no, I know. We've got a copy of it saved in case we want to show it again, which we will show before the end of the summer. But I'm going to have to check and see why you're not getting my emails, because I checked it already. Last time we talked.
Well, it could go in his spam file, because I had one that the guy that's coming to speak tomorrow sent me an initial email, and it ended up in my spam.
See,
mine, and so I got to check that.
Yeah, mine, I check my spam file. I don't delete that until I've checked it. So it may be, do your spam file automatically just stick it in there and then delete it?
No. I check my spam, and I have 4 different email addresses. I'm gonna send them to you. Well, I'm gonna call you and give them to you tomorrow.
Okay.
And maybe one of them will come through.
Jeez, criminy.
Did you do something that they're controlling your internet?
Well, again, people if y'all got multiple email addresses, be sure if you're not getting something and you used to get stuff from me, email me back and give me the one that you like to use. Because I know you're not the only one.
I like to use all of them. I mean, that doesn't matter to me. I mean, they're all on my
well, that's a problem with what I've got, too. That dadgum, see, AT&T or Bell South went and got on Yahoo. They're now piggybacked on Yahoo.
Oh, my God.
And I've got emails that are showing up, email addresses are showing up that I deleted years ago. When I put up, just put on somebody's name up that I want to send something to, it gives me a list of everybody with that name or close to it. And I saw the other day an email that I had deleted years ago was still on there someplace. And I'll go back and look in my email, my names file, and they're not there. They're not, the thing is gone. I don't know where it's
I use LUS for my internet and my TV service and all that, but I have Verizon on my phones. I got 3 damn phones, so something ought to come through.
Yeah. Well, I can put you on all of them actually, but I don't want to do that because then you'll be swamped with them.
Oh, it doesn't matter. I have nothing else to do but delete shit.
Yeah. Hey! Watch your language.
I didn't say that.
Okay.
All right, see you later.
Thanks, partner.
Dadgum,
I got here. You were talking a while ago about what was going on in the House. It says failing trade deal could fail voters, or would fail voters. Sometime this month, the House is expected to vote on Obama's authority to complete the Trans-Pacific Partnership, a trade deal linking 12 nations in Asia and the Americas. By all accounts, the vote will be close and contentious.
I hope so.
The main reason is a rebellion by Democrats I can't help it, it's a habit, of 188 in the House. Only 20 or so are expected to give Obama the go-ahead. Known formally as Trade Promotion Authority or informally as Fast Track. So what you're looking at is 168 of the Democrats are going to vote against this. Who woke them up?
Well, the unions primarily.
Oh, I would think so.
The unions are against this thing.
The unions are raising
and
all kinds of smoke
and of course,
on this.
Assange mentioned that too which, again, the unions are socialistic, but they also, I mean, this is like the Nazis and the communists fighting each other is what we've got here.
Yeah. Here it says the Democrats are fighting the deal for a simple but not very good reason. Labor has pulled out all stops to persuade Cajole and pressure them into
Cajole.
killing it. Cajole.
Cajole, that's cajole.
According to Politico, the AFL-CIO rep Scott Peters, who represents a swing district in California, that it would spend $1 million to defeat him in next year's party primary if he voted with Obama.
Let me see who wrote this up. That's obviously, that's a pro, the AP. Looks like the AP wrote it up.
It says it's linked with comment. I don't know. It came through the AP. It doesn't say. Ray Green.
Mr. Ray.
Mr. Ray.
Hey, Jim, Tom.
How goes it?
I thought you'd find this interesting. I had Cox representative come out to my house today because I had called and complained about the low volume on AOC. And the man says, well, I cannot ridicule AOC, but I'll put it this way. If it were Cox where the trouble is, all the channels would have extremely low volume.
No.
But since it is not all the channels, just 15 and 16, then what can I say?
Well,
so right now the volume is so low on you, I just barely can hear it. I got to turn it way, way up. So the trouble is not with Cox.
Well, Ray, if it were here, see, AOC sends their signal from here to LUS and Cox. LUS, there's no problem. Everybody that's calling in, now the last caller, the volume went up. It didn't just, it wasn't bad the whole time though, and he's on LUS. What we're finding is the people that are calling in are Cox people. The LUS people are fine.
Yeah, well, you're cutting out now. I can only hear half the things, even on the phone.
I'll tell you this. That Cox guy is way off, because I have Cox, and when I switch channels, not AOC channels, there are some channels where the volume is so low, and there are other channels where it's high. If I switch from the low volume channel to the other channel, then it's too loud. So I don't care what he says. The problem is at Cox, because I know that not every channel that they have on there is the same volume when I switch from one to the other.
Well, all I know is every time I try to listen to AOC, either one of the two channels is so darn low I can't hear it. But anyhow, I just want to let you know that our bill has gone to the governor for his signature for Senate Bill 283.
All right.
So I think that's fantastic news.
And
Congratulations.
it'll get signed. The word I got, Ray, is it'll be signed.
I wonder when he's going to sign it.
He's probably going to have a stack of them and sign them all at once.
He has to be in town to do that.
I can, even the telephone is cutting out now with you. I couldn't hear a thing you said a minute ago.
He has to be in town to sign it. And so, since he's running for president, apparently, he may sign it at the last minute.
One more thing, we definitely got a confirmation about Dee Stanley. He will be at our constitutional class this Saturday morning at Thomas Park at 10 a.m. So for all of those who want to ask Dee Stanley a question about his possible presidency of the City Parish Council, come on out and join us.
All righty. Very good.
All right, Ray.
Thanks, Ray.
Okay, thank you so much. Have a good one.
All right, later.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
If the problem with the AOC, all people would have.
Well, yeah, the LUS too.
Yeah, I watched 2 programs today where the volume was perfect on Channel 15.
Yeah, I don't know. It's bizarre. It's bizarre. All right, on this fracking thing quickly, that the caller mentioned, there was a guy that called the guy on Stuart Varney on Fox Business News. I think it was yesterday. Called him a liar. He had a guy that was anti-fracking on there, and he was trying to have a discussion with the guy. And the guy said, well, after the fracking happened, everybody's water started going bad. And Stewart is in an area where they did some fracking. His property's in a fracking area, and he said, well, the problem is not the fracking, because before the fracking, my water was bad too, and I could ignite it. And the guy called him a liar for saying that. And they've had somebody else on there that said that some of these areas where they're fracking, the water has been bad for 100 years there. And they've been able to light the water in these areas for 100 years. The fracking didn't do it. It's that these environmental wackos are blaming the fracking and saying that's what caused the bad water. That's what caused the water to go bad. No, folks. It's like the global warming lie. It's the same thing.
Go ahead, caller. You got about
Okay, I'm going to show you all what this deal is on your volume, okay? I'm going to turn the volume back on AOC, and it's on the same setting. Then I'm going to switch channels to another channel. I want you to hear the difference, okay?
All right. You want us to say?
Hold on. It's on the same setting. Then I'm going to switch channels to another channel. I want you to hear the difference, okay?